If you are building a medieval world, weather completely changes the look of your blocks. Today, we are doing a direct breakdown of 4 popular shaders, Astralex, Bliss, BSL, and Photon, specifically looking at how they handle rain. We will spend about 2 minutes on each, so you can see exactly how they alter the lighting and textures of a wooden build. Let's get straight into it. First up is Astralex. If you like heavy visual effects and lots of drama during a storm, this is what you get. Astralex makes the rain very thick and prominent on your screen. The sky takes on a dark, almost purple-gray tint, which completely changes the mood of a wooden build like this castle. When lightning strikes, it creates a very sharp contrast against the dark wood blocks. The downside is that it can feel a bit cluttered if you are trying to build while it rains, but for pure storm intensity, it definitely stands out. If you look closely at the HUD in your screen, you'll notice Astralex adds custom lens droplets and water distortion directly to your camera view. This makes it feel like you are actually standing out in the open rather than just looking at a game. Another thing to note is how it processes internal lighting. If we step inside this wooden room, the lanterns and torches have a very warm, fiery glow that fights against the cold, dark desaturation of the storm outside. It creates a massive contrast between safety indoors and the chaos outdoors. However, keep in mind that Astralex features a lot of flashing bloom effects by default. If you plan on playing for hours in the rain, you might want to head into the shader options and turn down the bloom, or the motion blur, as the default profile is highly aggressive on your eyes and your frame rate. Next up is Bliss, which takes a completely different approach. Instead of intense screen effects, Bliss focuses heavily on fog and atmospheric density. You can see how the fog settles between the wooden roofs and towers. The rain itself is softer, but the entire environment gets a cold, overcast look. Walking through the castle with this shader feels less like a storm and more like a damp, chilly day. The lighting on the wood planks stays very soft and natural, so you don't lose the details of your blocks to harsh shadows. What makes Bliss incredibly unique is its dynamic skybox and cloud rendering during weather changes. The clouds aren't just a flat gray texture, they have actual volume and height, meaning the fog realistically blankets the lower parts of your castle walls, while the higher peaks poke through. If you look at the spruce and oak logs here, they don't get super dark or blacked out like they do in other shaders. Bliss preserves the mid-tones of your textures perfectly. This is actually a major benefit for medieval builders because wood-heavy builds can easily look like giant, formless blobs when the sun goes away. Bliss keeps the depth lines between your stairs, slabs, and fences totally visible. It's highly optimized too, so you get this insane atmospheric RPG look without absolutely destroying your graphics card. Moving on to BSL. This is a standard choice for a lot of players because it keeps things highly visible. Even during a full downpour, BSL remains clean and bright. It doesn't rely on heavy fog or intense screen overlay effects to tell you it's raining. The droplets are straightforward, and the light breaking through the gray sky gives the wooden structures a nice, clean, matte look. If you want a shader that looks consistent and doesn't get in the way of your gameplay when the weather turns, BSL is a very safe bet. Let's talk about customizability, because that is where BSL shines. If you don't like how bright the rain looks against these dark oak pillars, BSL has an entire menu dedicated to weather customization. You can manually tweak the rain opacity, change the color of the storm clouds, or turn off the screen distortion entirely. Another thing to look at is the water in the castle moat. BSL handles water physics beautifully. It stays semi-transparent even during a storm, whereas other shaders turn the water completely opaque and muddy. This makes it perfect if you have underwater details or custom foundations built out of wood and stone that you still want to see from above. It's the ultimate baseline shader. It doesn't try to turn Minecraft into a completely different game. It just makes the vanilla weather look polished and professional. Finally, we have Photon. The main thing to notice here is how it handles block surface physics. Photon actually makes the top of flat blocks look wet and reflective when it rains. As you look across these wooden planks and stairs, you can see the sky and light sources reflecting off them like puddles. The cloud movement and the general color grading give it a very modern, realistic look. It requires a bit more performance from your PC, but the way it handles wet surfaces on a build is incredibly detailed. If we take a closer look at the angles of these reflections, you'll see that Photon uses a very advanced specular lighting system. The wet effect isn't just a static glossy overlay, it changes depending on your character's position and the time of day. If a lightning bolt hits behind the castle, you will actually see the flash mirror perfectly across the wet wooden roof planks for a split second. Inside the castle, where the roof protects the blocks, the wood stays completely dry and matte. This contrast between wet outdoor blocks and dry indoor blocks adds an incredible layer of immersion that very few shaders handle this accurately. If you have a high-end PC and want your medieval world to look like a cinematic next-gen tech demo every time it rains, Photon is the absolute peak of what modern shaders can do. So those are the 4 shaders. Astralex gives you heavy storm effects, Bliss gives you deep atmospheric fog, BSL keeps everything clean and visible, and Photon adds those detailed wet reflections to your blocks. Let me know in the comments which style you think fits a medieval build the best. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next breakdown. Bye.